What's up guys, Aaron here to do a Mathmech deck profile. I don't want it to be too long, so let's just get started with the video. Starting off, we got 3 Balancer Lord. You could pay 1,000, and then if you do, you gain another normal summon for a Cybers monster, and if he gets banished, you could special summon 1 level 4 lower monster from the hand. Next up, we got 3 Mathmech Nobla. You contribute 1 Cybers monster and special summon 1 Mathmech monster from the deck. And if he's sent to the graveyard, you could target 1 monster in the extra monster zone, give it a second attack on monsters during the battle phase. Next up, we got 3 Mathmech Sigma. If you control no monsters in the extra monster zone, you could special summon Sigma from hand or graveyard. But for the rest of the turn, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck, except for Cybers monsters. And aside from that, when he leaves the field and he was summoned using his effect, you banish him. His second effect is when he's used as a synchro material for a Cyverse monster, and there's another Mathmech monster being used as synchro material, you could treat him as a non-tuner. So yeah. Next up, we run 3 Mathmech Addition. You target 1 monster on the field, give it 1,000, then special summon Addition. For the rest of the turn, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck, except for Cyberse monsters. So yeah, a lot of these are pretty much the same card, in my opinion. 3 Mathmech Subtraction similarly targets 1 monster on the field, reduces that monster's attack by 1,000, and then you special summon him, and you're also locked out of the extra monster zone for the rest of the turn. Next up, 3 Mathmech Division. You tribute 1 monster in the extra monster zone, and you can special summon up to 1 monster from the hand and 1 monster from the graveyard. So he's pretty good for getting 3 Mathmech monsters on the field at the same time, but other than that, I personally don't really resolve his effect. Aside from that, his second effect is when he's sent to the graveyard, you could target 1 monster in the field and cut that monster's attack in half. So yeah. Next up, 2 Mathmech Multiplication. You target 1 Cyverse monster on the field and double that monster's level. And also, if he's sent to the graveyard, you could target 1 monster in the extra monster zone and double that monster's attack. So he's pretty good in general. Next up, we're running Staples, 3 Ash, no explanation there. 3 Gamma Seal. For this deck, you need 1 monster in attack position, so you have to run something like Gamma Seal, something that gives your opponent a mandatory attack position monster, because if they know what you're playing, they're just going to summon their guys in defense. So yeah. Also, his stat lineup is pretty good because you just need to debuff him a little bit or buff Sigma by 500 to fully OTK. So yeah. Next up, we got 3 Mathmech Equation. Target 1 Mathmech monster in the graveyard, special summon it, and give it 1,000. Hard once per turn, but it is searchable. 3 Billion Blade Nayuda. Equip only to a Cyverse monster. If the equip monster attacks during the damage step, you could send 1 Mathmech monster and increase the equip monsters by the sent monster's attack. So basically, you send a Mathmech monster during the damage step and then increase the equip monsters by 15 or 500 in this case. But the main reason why you run this at all is because they proc division or multiplication. So during the damage step, if these guys are sent to the graveyard, they could still activate. So you could cut your opponent's monster's attack in half or double your equip monster's attack. So that's why you run this. And then the second effect is if this card leaves the spell and trap zone, you could add one Mathmech Speller Trap from the graveyard, so there's a bit of recursion there. Next up, 3 Desires for draw power. And then what would be 3 Signet Minings, I'm running 3 Cosmic Cyclones instead. If you have the Signet Minings, just run them. They're effectively a lot better than Cosmic Cyclone in my opinion, but yeah. Last spell in the deck is 1 Foolish Burial to send whatever you need. You have 3 targets, Sigma, Multiplication, and Division, so this card is never really dead. And then the last card in the deck is 1 Super Factorial. Target 3 Mathmech monsters. It could be up to 3, but typically you target 3 Mathmech monsters in the graveyard. Special summon them, and you could either use them as Xyz material to summon one of your Xyz monsters, or use them as synchro material for one of your synchros. But the downside for the synchro play is that they get shuffled into the deck. So yeah. Next up, we got for the extra deck, starting off with Geomathmech Magma. When this card destroys a monster by battle, during the damage step, or in the damage step, you could target 2 monsters or 2 cards on the field and destroy them. And then if this card is destroyed, you get to search out a Mathmech Speller Trap. So yeah. The main reason why you even run the deck is because of Final Sigma. While this card is in the extra monster zone, it is unaffected by card effects except for Mathmech cards. And also, if this card is in the extra monster zone, when it battles with another monster, it does double damage. So this by itself is full OTK, and your opponent can't really do anything once it hits the field. So yeah. And then if it gets destroyed, you get to search out a Mathmech Speller Trap as well. Next up, we are running 1 Alambertian. I know it's a $30 card, but you need at least 1 to play the deck. Being an OTK deck, you'll be fine with 1 Alambertian, but if you intend to run it as a grindier deck or a grindier build, you need multiples. So basically, when this card is summoned, you could detach cards up to the corresponding effect. So 2 gives you a Mathmech monster, 3 gives you a level 4 monster, and 4 gives you any Speller Trap. And then his second effect is you contribute 1 Mathmech monster and special summon from your hand or graveyard another Mathmech monster. So yeah. You contribute himself, which is pretty important to know. So yeah. Next up, we got Laplacian. Excuse me there. Basically, his first effect, if a Mathmech monster would be destroyed, you could detach 1 material instead. But when he is summoned, you could detach up to 3 materials, depending on which effect you want to apply. The first effect, you have to declare that you're going to apply each effect. So the first effect, you could send 1 monster on the field to the graveyard. The second effect, you could discard or send 1 card from the hand, and then the second effect, you could send 1 Speller Trap from the field. So all in all, if your opponent meets all 3 requirements, you could just rip 3 cards from your opponent. So when people call this a Trishula, he is very much similar to Trishula. But you don't have to apply all 3. You could apply 2 and then detach 2. So that's one clarification I feel needed to be stated. Next up, for the link engine, you want to run these 4 cards. So the main combo revolves around this. Basically, you use 2 cards and you get like 4 back. It's really weird. But all in all, this sets up your OTK pretty consistently using any 2 Mathmech or any 2 Cyverse cards. So yeah, If you want to know how it's done, just check out my video, or just try to figure out for yourself. Next up, we're running a pretty odd pair. Update Jammer and Transcode Talker. If you can't OTK your opponent through regular means, you use these two instead. So you need 3 Cybers monsters. It works with 1 multiplication and 2 Cybers monsters. So you make Update Jammer using the 2 Cybers monsters, and then you link off Transcode using math or multiplication. And then you use multiplication's effect and Update Jammer's effect to buff up Transcode Talker. And then you use Transcode Talker's effect to summon Update Jammer. So that's a pretty weird OTK, but I feel like it's a good fallback. And then at some point I thought it was a good idea to run super poly targets, but post Banlist it's not really necessary. Basically, you have any 3 slots you can run. A few candidates I want to fill with this empty space is Pentastag, because there's a potentially strange combo you could pull off. But all in all, you could run IP if you have it. I don't have it, so all in all, that's the bulk of the deck profile. Side deck is basically back row hate. This deck loses there can only be one. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give a like, subscribe to the channel, and see you guys next time. Bye.